first thing I'll do is show you how to draw a single line. Now with anything in AutoCAD, almost any command that you have, there are at least one or at least two, maybe three ways that you can do or carry out that command. So with the line command, if I want to draw a line, you go up here to the top left where it says line. Now if I leave my mouse there, I haven't clicked anything on there. Oops, it just moved over. If I leave my mouse there in the same spot, it opens up a little bit of a short demonstration or an example of what the command does, what it can do. So in this case it says line, create straight line segments, and then it shows an example. Now in green there, it lists 1, 2, 3. That just means that each time you click the mouse, it makes one starting point for the line at number 1. Then the number 2 would be where you click it again. And then if you move your mouse down to the right and clicked it again the third time, you would get that line. So the red line is what you would get there. So I'm going back to the line command. I'll click on it. Now I am in the line command. You can tell I am because this section here, this command line here, shows that I am in the line command. Now if I want to get out of that and go back to just being the normal crosshairs cursor that I can move around, I push the escape key. Escape's on the top left of your keyboard. If I push it, this is what happens. You see it removes me from the line command. So I am no longer in any command right now. So again, I'm pushing the escape. Out of habit, I push the escape twice just to make sure I'm out of it. If I want to draw a line, I click the line command, and I'm going to click it one time. This is left click. Then you see what it's doing here, and I'm going to left click again, and left click, and left click. Okay, so let me show you what's going on there. Now, like I say, when I'm done with a command, doing something with it, and I want to get out of it, see I'm still in the line section. It says specify next line. I push the escape key. Okay, so let me go through that sequence again. If I want to draw a line, click on the line command, left click once, left click twice, left click 3 times, and I'm going to escape now. Push escape, and I have 2 sets of lines here that help me through. So one thing I want to point out with lines is if I'm in the line command, I click on it here one more time. First thing it does is it asks me a question, and the question follows along with the cursor or the crosshairs on my screen there. It says specify first point. Now first point is a coordinate point, and you see there are 2 of them. There's right now the one says 3.2869, and then the next one says 9.5739. So, and as I move one direction, let's say I move to the right, the one in blue gets bigger, and as I move to the left, the one in blue gets smaller. That is called the x coordinate, also known as the Cartesian coordinate system that you use in algebra or math or geometry. So along the x-plane, this gets higher and lower. Now watch what happens when I go up and down. See the y-coordinate in gray, it's 8.8399 right now. As I move that up, it goes higher, just like along the y-axis. And as I move that down, it goes lower, higher and lower as you go along. So what that's doing is it's following along an x and y coordinate. Notice that those 2 numbers are positive numbers, and that is because we are in the positive side of the x and y coordinates. Now I'm going to push escape and get out of the commands now. So I have no commands right now with my cursor, with my crosshairs there. The next thing I want to introduce, if I've drawn this line, that line there, is the roller wheel command, or the roller wheel button. Now on most mouse or mice that you use today on a computer, you have a middle button between the left and the right click, and that button it's a button, but it's also a roller. Now let me show you what happens if I push my middle roller down. That turns to a hand signal or hand picture there. Okay, and as I let go, it disappears. So as I push it down, back and forth, down and up, it turns to the hand. But now watch what happens when I push it down and go from left to right. So I'm keeping my finger on the button the roller button and moving it around. So what I'm doing is I can shift the picture, move it around, slide it around. Then as I let go of the button, it stays. I can move the mouse without moving the picture. But if I push it down again on this side, I can slide that whole picture over. So that's one thing. Another piece that the command or the mouse can do is move your drawing around. Think of it as a piece of paper that you can grab or put your hand down and move it around. Next, I want to show you what happens when you roll that push button wheel. Rolling the wheel, again, this is between the left and the right hand click. As you roll the wheel, let's say I roll it back towards me. Watch what happens to my set of drawing, my lines. So it gets farther and farther away, and I'm moving farther. It's getting smaller. It's getting so small I can't even see it anymore. So I'm going way out. It's almost as if I'm taking off into space away from that line. Okay, now let me go back. And notice as I go back, I'm rolling it forward now. As I roll forward, the screen keeps moving bigger. We're getting closer, and oh, here comes my set of drawings. So that's what the wheel does. One is you can click it down, hold it, move drawings around, or you can roll it in and out to see your drawing. So that's something you want to practice, and you'll get to practice as we go along. Some more things to point out. I mentioned that this whole screen here is based off of a Cartesian coordinate system. There's your y-axis and your x. So anything, let me see if I'm going to draw a line. Anything in this area, you could call it this quadrant. Let me move this over a little bit. This quadrant is going to be a positive x number and a positive y. And you see that there, 3.904 for the x. That's the left-hand side one. It's listed in blue. And then in gray, you see 4.9676. Now, if I move this over on across that green section there, now my x coordinate becomes negative. So now it's negative 13.174. Right side is, or excuse me, the y coordinate is 6.11 or 1222. Now, if I move it to the bottom left there, now they're both negative. Again, this is just like geometry or algebra, where you have a grid system. And then if, again, bottom right is the x coordinate's positive 11, and then some. And then the y is negative because it's below the red line above there. So that gives you an idea of how they use their coordinate system here. There is another coordinate besides the x and the y, and that's called the z, and it's based off of that coordinate system. The z goes out forward to you. It's actually, if you're looking at the screen, it comes out to you and may touch you on the face type of thing. So we won't worry about that right now. So just x and y, positives and negatives. Now you kind of know, hopefully you could practice this, running this on the screen. I'm zooming in and out with the wheel, and then relocating my drawing by pushing down on the wheel. So let me point out some other things with the line. I'm going to click on the line. One way is to click here, and then it says specify first point. So as I draw, there's a couple things I want to point out. First of all, notice the left side there in blue is 20.7556. And what that is a set of unit distances, or a distance from the start point where I first clicked way down here all the way to my end point. So, and it does go out to the fourth decimal. They like to be very precise about these things. So that's one thing to point out. That's the distance. Now, the other one I want to show is on the right side there, just below, off to the right, number 39 degrees. That 39 degrees represents the angle from where my line is that I just created, based off of a 0 angle here. So if 0 is a completely horizontal line, left to right, the higher up I go, the higher the angle is that's listed. So so you get an idea how it follows the line along, and it shows the distance, 12.8493 in this case, and 137 degrees. It's always following. If I get it almost to where it goes back to horizontal, now it is listed at 4 degrees, so it's in reverse there. Okay, so that's just some basics on there. Now let's say I wanted to draw a line that was a specific distance. In fact, let's say I wanted to make it 20 units long. Now notice that my my blue section there, the distance, is highlighted in blue. Watch what happens when I push the tab key. The tab's in the top left corner there. Push the tab and it highlights the 31 degrees. If I go back and forth, 15, distance of 15.1599, and back to 31. So I can go back and forth and highlight it. When it's listed in blue, that's the one that I can edit, that I can put in a number for. So if my distance is highlighted in blue and I want to make it 20 units long. By the way, these units are not necessarily meters or feet or microns or miles. It's just an abstract unit that we use for now for the sake of giving something a label. So I'm going to make this 20 units long. I'm going to type in 20 and push enter. And what it did is it created a line that is 20 units long at, I think it was 35 degrees or something like that. I'm still in line mode. If I want to go out of it, remember I can push escape. So now I created a line that I know is 20 units exactly, 20 precisely. So now I'm going to click on it. Again, I'm going back to it. I'm going to left click on it here and it highlights it. Watch what happens when I put my cursor or my mouse right on the end of that button or that line. It sticks to it. And I haven't clicked anything, but it shows that yes, it's 20 units long, and it's 31 degrees there, 31 degrees. So that's something good to know. If you want to create a line exact, you can make that line specific distance. Let's say I wanted to make another line. I'm going to click on this. This one I want to make 15 units long, so 15 units long. And see what it does. See how it shrinks. It's a little smaller than the 20 unit line. So I'm going to push escape here. So what I've done is created two lines. I'm going to highlight them both. I'm clicking both of them, one, and then letting go of the button, and then clicking again. And this one's 15. Okay, so that's some things to practice with on lines. Another line one is if you want to draw a line and make it exactly at 5 degrees. Okay, so remember the tab. If I push the tab button, I'm in the middle of this line sequence. I push the tab, and now my 21 degrees is highlighted. If let's say I want to make it at 15 degrees, let's say 15. I think we'll go 15. 15 degrees. Okay, and I push enter. You see how it takes that line, and whatever distance I had listed, it puts it at the same distance and 25 degrees. I'm pushing escape. So this line is 15 degrees, and the distance was 17.613. Now you can also take a line and make it at those two different coordinates, those two different measurements. So let's say I start here, I bring it out. Let's pretend I wanted this line to be only 10 units long. Now the line distance is highlighted, so I'm going to type in 10, 0. But before I push enter, before I tell the program to make a line that's 10 units long, let's say I also want to make it at, instead of 21 degrees, I want to make it 45 degrees. 45 degrees. So before I push enter, you push tab. So push tab there. You see what happens? It makes it 10, but it's going to let me choose what set of degrees to make it at. So I'm going to make it 45. Now I'm going to push enter. Okay. And escape to get out of the line section there. So as I highlight the line, I'm going to left click on here and then just put my cursor right, or my mouse right on the edge of the line, either side. It should show that is, it's a little hard to see. This is going to show it. Yeah, it's giving me 10 units long, but it also lists, in this case, 135. If I put it right here, it'll be, I want to zoom out just a little bit. Shows it, you can barely see, it's 45 degrees there. All right. So those are some basics on drawing lines. Okay. Okay, so you are now ready to do a lab that helps to test you on your knowledge that you just learned with the lines and angles and measurement there. And so this first lab here is called I call it the sheet metal lab, also known as the lines and angles lab. I'm going to open up the file. I have it saved here, ready to open up, but you'll need to download it, the actual drawing itself. So I'm going to open that up, and when you open it up, you'll see a file that looks like this. Has some wording here. I'm going to zoom in. You see it's got name, section, and then a code word. Code word and number there. So the name, go ahead and change that. Double click there and give it a minute. Let's see, I'm going to change that to your name here. John Doe. Section number, we'll go call this the online section. And code word, this is a part that you'll answer as we go through the semester, or go through the lab itself. So let's jump over to the instructions. The instructions I have listed here. Also, you could download it from our link for the lab. I call this the sheet metal lab drawing, or the lines and angles drawing. So the instructions are to draw the displayed sheet metal piece by following the instructions below. Now the piece is down here. This is a piece, if you can imagine. I'm going to look up just pieces of sheet metal, or parts of sheet metal, just to show you an idea of what I'm talking about. So sheet metal is a metal that can be corrugated. It can be flat, or what they call a brushed chrome finish. You can see it can be bent into different parts. It's used for anything from doors to boxes, containers. This is an example of some that's been stamped and pressed together. So when we're looking at this sheet metal part, just imagine it's a very thin sheet made out of metal, but it has some specific dimensions here. This set of dimensions, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. This bottom piece here, this bottom length, is 65.7482 units. We'll call them units. We don't know if they're inches or meters or even yards. This one here is 26.3132 and 6.0625, and so on and so forth. Now that's the object that we're trying to recreate, trying to draw. So in this case, the assignment says that you've been emailed it. Well, in the online course, it's just on the link where you can download the assignment. And again, there are two parts. One is the AutoCAD file, and then the other is this file here that shows the instructions for it. So let's see. It says to fill in your name. Let's see. You see the text there that I showed you at the beginning. Fill in your name, section number, and then place text shown on the file. And that's what we've done here. I've changed it. You can do that yourself. And then the next part is to fill in the code word that is found deep in the text file, where you can look at the X and Y where they meet. So you use the zoom wheel to find it, and I'll give you a hint, just a hint of a set of instructions. It's right in this area here. In fact, if I zoom forward, push the wheel forward away from my hand, I almost have to recenter. I'm pushing down on the wheel. I have to recenter it and keep zooming, keep on zooming until I find something. Oh, there it is, tiny little word. If I zoom any further, you'll probably see it. But so you'll have to open up this file. I'm backing out now, and find that code word. Put the code word here, waiting for it to show up. So you put the code word here, and let's just say the word is magic. Okay, and then there's one other thing you need to put with the code word, and then you have to, and I will put the XXX here. This will be some numbers. In fact, I'm going to put numbers. Push enter. So this is part of the answer there, but then the other part is the next section here. So back to the assignment, the instructions. It says draw the following sheet metal part with the same dimensions as given below. Use the ortho on option for the right angles to make them exact. I think I explained that earlier, but just in case, I'll do a little review on that. And then it says for the last line on the left, find the precise length of the line and the line dimensions. So you want to find the length of it. And I showed you that on the instructions here. Last part is to, of course, save it in DWG format and then submit that. This one says to print it. You could print it for yourself, but submit that to the web page for the instructions or for credit. So again, you're drawing all of these shapes, all of these lines with the proper dimension, and then that last line, you need to figure out what it is. I'm going to show you just a quick demonstration. So here's the line command. You remember we went through that before. This particular assignment, you want your lines to be perfectly vertical and horizontal, at least for the most of the drawings. And so in order to do that, there's a command down below called the ortho mode. Right here you can see the right angle section. I'm not sure if I went through this, so just in case you haven't shown it to you, I'm showing it to you now. This can be turned on or off. On or off. See how it goes back and forth. Now while it's off, the lines can go all over the place. When it's on, though, it only lets you make perfectly horizontal and vertical and horizontal line, vertical lines. So let's just, I'm going to draw just my own version of this drawing. It's not correct, but the numbers aren't correct, but at least it shows the shape that I'm trying to draw. Now, as long as my ortho is on, I'm going to zoom out while I'm in the middle of this. As long as my ortho is on, this isn't quite the same at all, but there, as long as it's on, then my lines come out perfectly straight. But for that last line, to make it connect onto the end, I have to take the ortho off. And it's done like this. While it's off, now I can draw my line and connect it right to the end. And then I want to get out of the line command, zoom in. So the key here is to draw the drawing exactly correct, and then find out what the distance of that line is. Now in this particular case, my own drawing, it says it's 24.3577. However, when you draw your own line, it will be a specific distance, and it has to be exact. In other words, you need to put in your 4-digit, 3-digit, 2-digit numbers here exactly correct, so that you can get this correct distance of a line. So that's the assignment there. When you find that number, let's just say that number comes out to be 17.555. Okay, edit this text down here, double click on that, and I'm going to click again so I'm inside here and I can write the number. Well, I think I said it was 17.555. I push enter, and this is what you turn in. Now, one last thing I want to show you before you turn this in, and that is that if you are zoomed in very close like this and you push print, or you go to save it, it will save it exactly where you have it shown there. In other words, if you push print on this, it will show you a picture that looks like this blackened area with some lines. If you zoom out a little with the roller wheel, you can see the whole picture and your text down below. This is what you'll want to turn in, something like this. But let's say you're like this and you want to just go to see the full screen of all the things that you've drawn so far. There's a button here called Zoom Extents. Zoom Extents. If you click on this, just click on it one time, it automatically zooms out to the full distance there. And that is our assignment.